Hey guys, Mikhail here with another device deal video. Today we're going to go over the new Netgear Nighthawk router, which is the first Wi-Fi 6 and 4G integrated router that Netgear have released. The model number is the LAX20 if you guys need to look it up for future references. We'll go through a few things today, such as the appearance of it, some of the specifications, and just some of the handy features. And I mean, I am a big fan of this just because I really think it's got that Batman kind of feel. So we'll go over a bit more of that in the future. Alright, so now we're going to go for the unboxing. So you'll find it in its casual casing, plastic bag, which is normal. See, as I mentioned, really cool little shape, very, very modern kind of aesthetic. I mean, you can't really put it any way facing upwards, so it might be not as good if you're looking to try to save some space, but I mean, it's got a super low profile. So I think with the black color, if you're putting in a black, decor like we've got here, it kind of blends in really nicely. We've also got, like most of the Netgear stuff, just a quick start guide, which has just some setup information, warranty booklet, power supply, 2 included antennas. Now, I'll go through it a bit later, but you actually can get an additional antennas that you can attach to even make the range better than it already is. But for what comes in the box, you get 2 external antennas. And then last but not least, 1 Ethernet cable. So why would you even want a router that can work off a SIM card like this one? Now, there's a number of main reasons. One might be that you don't want to kind of lock into a contract with a provider, so you can go on just a SIM card month-to-month basis. It also allows you the flexibility to just kind of move around with your plans as well. And even in remote areas where you may not even have NBN or, I guess, the suitable wiring that you'd like, you can probably get better speeds from using a device like this. I guess the one downside about this, although it is a new release, it doesn't have the ability to go onto a 5G network. But I guess that it hasn't really rolled out across the whole of Australia yet. But 4G is still more than suitable for pretty much everyone. So it's really handy to have in that regard. And then on top of that, another handy feature is the failsafe. So I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but I'll go into a bit more depth. If there is if there's failure in your Wi-Fi, so something's wrong with the wiring, or just something's wrong with your network overall, and you've got a really important project to do, it can just fail over straight onto the 4G network. So, and you can use that as long as you need to. So, you can switch and choose. Even I know you probably do it at your home. I know I do. When your internet isn't going as fast as you'd like to, you just kind of switch it off and go onto your 4G network. So instead of doing something like that, you can just switch over to the 4G on this and not have to use your phone's data. So again, handy features, a lot more flexibility and better coverage as well. All right, so now we're going to go over the design and some of the ports that you can see on the physical aspect of it. So, as we mentioned at the start, super sleek, nice and thin, low profile, nice black design, but you do have the issue that you have no ability to put it up as a vertical system. So, if you're limited for space, you might have a bit of issues with this. So it does have to stay flat. But what is really handy is that you do have a good number of ports. So on the back, we've got your 4 standard Ethernet gigabit ports. You've got a USB port, your SIM card slot, which is a nano SIM card size. So ensure if you are going to use the 4G that you do get the correct SIM card size. And then the 2 additional antenna ports. Now, those are for the LTE section of this. So if you're trying to get better reception from your provider or from the SIM card that you're using, that's where you can get these additional antennas to just plug into here. On top of that, we've got your standard WAN port, which is where you just plug in to your modem, your power port, reset button, and just your on and off. So that's looking at the back. If you look at the front, you just got a couple of nice lighted areas. So you've got, I guess you can see the fan at the top, which keeps it nice and ventilated. Also forgot to mention, it does have a good bit of weight to it. I guess not heavy, but some routers you can tell that they're a bit flimsy when they're bad quality. I guess this you can feel it's made out of a pretty decent part, so it's not going to be something that can be thrown around and just broken really easily. So going back to the lights. So if we go from top to bottom, we've got the just on and off light at the top. Second light there will indicate whether there is actually internet running to the device or not. Then the 2 ones below that just show which bands are being used, whether it's your 2.4 or 5 gigahertz band. The 4 below that are just indicating which Ethernet ports are being used, as well as the USB. Then the last two down the bottom are just one is for your WPS, just another way to connect your router to wireless devices. And then I believe this is just an on-off as well. All right, so for the specs and features of this bad boy. So as I mentioned at the start, it is a Wi-Fi 6 router, so the newest technology. And the main kind of features of Wi-Fi 6 is the fact that it's got a bit of a speed increase on the Wi-Fi 5, but the biggest thing is really the ability to have a wide range of products without kind of limiting the bandwidth. So heaps more devices, a lot more traffic, and without eating up the bandwidth. So for example, if you've got someone doing some hardcore gaming and then someone else Netflix streaming at the same time, you're not going to find anyone having to fight for that bandwidth. It's going to really be able to spread it across the devices nice and easy. On top of that, you've got your what they call Wi-Fi always on feature, and that is really due to the 4G network capability. So if, for example, your internet cuts out, or your provider has some kind of issue and you're in a mid-tournament of some kind of game or big project, it can just revert to your LTE or 4G network, so you get no interruptions whatsoever. On top of that, what's really handy is the fact that it covers multiple bands on the LTE network, so any provider is covered. Doesn't matter if you're with Optus, Telstra, anyone, Dodo, it can be the lot. So it also has a number of streams. So a streams is really, it's got 4 streams actually. So a router's total throughput, which is about how much data it can send and receive, is determined by the number of streams it employs. So this particular model can employ up to 4 streams simultaneously. What makes this really good is, as I mentioned previously, is that you don't have to compete for bandwidth, and there's no slowing down in the network. So I guess a lot of people would find in your standard home is, as you're starting to increase the amount of devices connected, especially in this world where everything is connected now, you've got smart fridges, smart lights, everything's got some kind of Wi-Fi connectivity, you'll find that over time, especially with older networks, it's going to really start to kind of build up your bandwidth and then just slow it down, and eventually it's not going to prioritize the things that it needs to. So as I also showed at the beginning of the video, it comes with so there's like an app that's involved to set up this thing. So it's a really simple process. You can just either install the app on your phone, or you can use it as a web browser. It's a 2-minute process. It'll come with its own password, but you can obviously change that, just like any kind of router really. Change the password, change your networks. It's all quite simple to do. Another additional feature that it's got is the Netgear Armor feature. So this is kind of like an inbuilt additional security software. So it protects your devices from cyber threats and suspicious activity websites and malware, anything in between. So you can also integrate this with your smart home features. So things like your Google Smart and Amazon Alexa, this can all be integrated through that as well. When it comes to the speeds, it's an AX1800 rated speed. So that is across dual bands. So you've got your standard 5 GHz band and 2.4 GHz band. In total, that can cover a total of 1800 megabits per second. So really, really good speeds. Again, probably more than most people can even access in their area right now. Again, I know in Australia, you can't really get the greatest amount of speeds possible. I know most plans really max out at 100. So again, just like I've spoken about in previous routers, this is future-proofed. So once the speeds are able to kind of increase and we can match up to that, you can still use this and not have to replace them every couple of years. So to conclude, the LAX20 4G router is a great new addition to the Nighthawk family. With the new Wi-Fi 6 speeds and a capability for a larger stream network and high usage of devices, and with the 4G fallover or 4G priority, up to you. It's really a good all-round router. I also like the fact that it's sleek, kind of has a nice design to it. It's a bit minimalistic, which really suits today's society. I guess the only main downside about it is the fact that it doesn't have the 5G capability, but I guess that's not going to be too much of a concern for most people in my books. So anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.